So the key to, before you present price to a seller, is to educate them on pricing and get them to agree to principles before you show them the price. Critical. Now, Mr. Seller, there's 3 strategies to pricing a property, and let me talk about that. First of all, we don't want to price it too high. You know, when you bought this house, there are houses priced just like this one, but didn't have as much. And so you didn't buy that, you bought this one. We don't want to be priced above the competition. Then your house will be compared to houses that are bigger and better. Would you agree? Probably not a good strategy. So I'll go, yeah, I agree. Mr. Seller, what we don't also want to do is price it too low. If we price it too low, we'll be compared to houses that aren't as good. It'll sell right away. We might even create a little bidding war that can get the price up, but in this market, too risky. Too risky. What we want to do is look at all the other properties in similar neighborhoods, similar school district, similar properties, and make sure we're competitively priced in that price range. Does that make sense? They'll say yes. That's twice already they've agreed not to price it too high. So, Mr. Seller, before I get into the market analysis, let me ask you, what is it that you guys were looking for the house? And let's say, I think in this example, competition's around $650. They say, Rich, we want $750 for the home. Your follow-up question every time will be, how did you arrive at that? No matter what they say, the real reason is they need to net a certain amount in order to sell it. We need to sell it for this price so we can take the $400,000 equity and apply it to this house or where we're going. When they respond that way, if you can't ask the question I'm about to propose to you, then don't work with sellers. Only work with buyers. Mr. and Ms. Seller, I understand you need $400,000 out of this house. Let me ask you a quick question. Does what you want for the home, what you desire, have anything to do with what a buyer will pay? Let me ask you that. Let me present that question to you again. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, does what you want for the home have anything to do with what a buyer will pay? They'll say no. Say, now that what you want for the home has everything to do with if you should put it on the market or not. That's when you answer that question. If the competition is going to net you far less than what you want for the house, then don't put it on the market. Because what you need to net has nothing to do with what a buyer will pay. It's like going to buy a refrigerator, right? You go to one appliance store, and that GE side by side is $1,200. You go into Sears, it's $1,600. Do you think they go, well, Sears wants $1,600, so let's go ahead and buy it here? It's the same thing. That's the way you have to look at it. Makes sense? Guys, you need that clarity up front. Back in the script. Mr. Seller. So we have this market analysis, and it's broken down to 3 types of properties. The first property is what we call expired. Actually, we call them market rejects. Market rejects. These properties have been on the market 6 to 12 months. They didn't sell because they were priced above the competition. We want to look at those to make sure that we're not priced in the market reject territory. Make sense? They'll say yes. It's 4 times they've agreed not to price it too high. Yeah. The second property we look at, Mr. Seller, are sold properties. Now, I'm going to take a little time and discuss this with you. 90% of agents base their market analysis on what they've sold for. But I've got a question for you. I'm going to take you back to your buyer experience. When you bought this house, the agent showed you a bunch of different houses, and you picked the best one. Agreed? Yes. How many houses that were not available to buy that had been previously sold over the last months did they take you through before you bought? They'll say none. So you're telling me that agents base pricing on houses that prospective buyers never see or even know about. That's ridiculous. That's basing pricing on past history. The key is, are you competitive? Let's say you priced it at $500 and you're the best one at $500. It's going to sell. Just because that same house sold a month ago for $450 or $600 doesn't matter. What matters is the buyer's choices at that time. Now, we look at sold properties just to make sure we're in the right territory, right? But really, the property that makes sense to base your pricing on, obviously, is the active listing, which means your immediate competition. Makes sense? They'll say makes sense. 5 times now, they've agreed to price it competitively before I've even shown them the pricing. Now, Mr. Maseller, I've broken these 3 different types of properties, market rejects, sold, active listings, into map form, so you can kind of get an idea of the pricing. Now, you said you wanted $750 for the home. So the first ones I'm going to show you are the ones that were market rejects. Homes just like yours. I've got the information on here. Marble countertops, everything yours has. One even has a pool. And one of them is the exact same floor plan. So here are the market rejects and what they were rejected at. And just don't say a word. So this are hot properties just like yours, on the market 6 months to a year, didn't sell. Here are what houses just like yours did actually sell for. And right now, if you put it on the market, you'd be in competition with these. Now, all you have to say is, what do you think? And you're going to get about 50% of them say, well, if we want to sell it, we need to be competitive. It'll blow your mind if you follow this discipline of presenting price. But you got another 50% that haven't quite sold on this yet. So you're going to get that obvious response you get a lot, which is, well, can we start it at 700? And that's when you get that real confused look on your face, right? Which, by the way, most of you are very good at. Just a little joke. Anyway, get that confused look on your face. Well, Mr. Maseller, I'm a little confused, and let me explain to you why. First of all, you said earlier that one of your goals was to sell it quickly. So if we price it above the competition, those all have to sell. There'll be more that replace that. That's going to prolong how long you're selling. Let me show you something else. 90% of all properties that sell in the first couple months. So the minute we put your property on the market, there's all these existing buyers in databases, websites, out on the market. The minute it goes on the market, this huge pool of buyers come out and look at it. If it's not competitive, they go away. Then when you lower the price, the only people that's new to are the people that are newly coming on in the buyer pool. So you shrink your buyer pool considerably, right? You're going to shrink your buyer pool by 70% because you came out the gate not competitive. So here's my question. Are you willing to discard, eliminate, kick to the curb the majority of people willing to purchase your home? I just need to know that up front. Now you're going to get about 40% of them. All right, they're going to be like, all right, makes sense. Let's price it competitively. If they say, Rich, I understand, makes sense, but we really need $400,000 equity in that. Can you please start it at 700? This is where you have to say, look, Mr. Maseller, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. I've got a list of agents that I can refer to you that have taken listings that have never sold and that don't have a problem with that. But if you're not willing to compete, I'm not willing to list. Pack up your stuff. Half of those people will stop you at the door based on your integrity. The other half, thank God you didn't list it, because in 6 months after it doesn't sell, you'll be the reason, not them. Once you get them to agree on price, you fill out the paperwork, and the listing is yours. Guys, that listing presentation is extremely powerful.